Bull. This dog. She had her legs up on the thing and she's eating out of his bowl. She doesn't care to hold her legs up. Look at my little legs. Look at my legs. Check out my little legs. She doesn't care. She eat out of the bowl. I'm a dog. I'm a dog. Cookie puss. Cookie puss. Cookie puss. Cookie puss. Check out my tail. Check out my little tail. We'll start off with this. This is these are two things I found. It's all public record. I'll go into the whole dissertation after. But public record right here. It's dated November 10th, 2003. This is the trust that didn't exist. All this friggin' abuse and torture I'm going through over this. The undersigned trustee is trustee under the Teeling family trust dated August 12th, 1999. 8 years after I got friggin' thrown out of the house at 13, 14. And amendments thereto, if any, has full and absolute power in said trust agreement to convey any interest in real estate and improvements thereon held in said trust, and no purchaser or third party shall be bound to inquire whether the trustee has said power. Bound to inquire? I'm going to inquire right now. Inquire minds what I know. And said power to, or is properly exercising said power, operating fraud, or to C, to the application of any trust asset paid to the trustee for conveyance, therefore certificate is given pursuant to New Hampshire friggin' statute. 28th day of October 2003. Teeling Family Trust, Patricia Teeling. Once again, all public record. Where's the other one? Hold on. Oh, here it is. 20th day of October 2003. But yeah, there you go. Patricia M. Teeling, the mother of the year, mother of the century. State of New Hampshire, County of Hillsborough. The foregoing was acknowledged. The acknowledgement, this is a big deal. Before me, this 28th day of October 2003, Patricia M. Teeling, trustee of the Teeling Family Trust. You got a notary of the public. This is a public official. My brother, Jonathan Teeling, a fiduciary of the public. I'll explain this coming right up. Notary of the public, justice of the peace. Commission expires 3/6/2007. Jonathan Teeling, notary of the public, New Hampshire. He's acting as official capacity right here. And there's his notary stamp. This is why Lori is freaking harassing me and going crazy in this community. But let me move on to like I said, I couldn't find the first email when I asked. I didn't ask them. I told them what was going on after I got through with the freaking murder investigator. Publish that call later. All right, let's do an afternoon special. I don't know. It's gonna come out. All right. I don't know where the original email went. It's in here. This phone reads really weird. But this is the Attorney General, New Hampshire DOJ.gov. That was sent out September 23rd. So it was way before that. It says, good afternoon. Your email was forwarded to us by the Secretary of State's Office for Response. We understand that you allege Jonathan Teeling committed a notarial acts violation related to a family trust. If you would kindly provide us with additional information regarding the circumstances of the alleged violation, would greatly assist us with determining what action, if any, I'm alleging crimes here, this office can take in this matter. Helpful information includes, but it's not limited to, a description of Mr. Teeling's alleged conduct violation, the date when this alleged conduct violation occurred, and or any facts, documents, or records you believe are important to our review. Statement of confidentiality for what is public record. That's Nicholas Chong Yen, Department of Justice. I sat in a parking lot for days. Take this. This is what I wrote. I'll go back through it in a minute. But after what I had written back, good morning, Miss Teeling, thank you for information and your analysis. They were ready to brush it off. My colleagues copied on this email, review the information and determine what action may be appropriate from this office. If you have any additional questions or require any additional information, my colleagues will reach out to you. They've been kept in the loop fully on the rest of this. Oh shit, I was gonna go... I posted the what this all stemmed from, but alright, so let's just run through this. Good day, Mr. Chong Yen. Start off at an incredibly difficult time reaching you, but I'm thankful to finally have. I went round and round with that Department of Justice guy. They only investigated murders, so I was a crazy lunatic or something. Because Patty called the fucking, that'd be institutionalized. But yeah, it originally reached someone that claimed to be an investigator, but say mainly really investigated homicides, referred to me as to some county agencies, to which I told him was a state issue, as notaries are government officials appointed by the governor's office. But moving on, and I've learned a bunch more about this since then. Circa 2019, this is being lengthy. I was researching the property and my property and family's properties, and found that the home my mother resides in was titled in the Teeling Family Trust. Years prior, she had stated to me that my brother Jonathan Teeling, the other beneficiary, although not present this time in conversation, and I were on the deed of the property, and that I could come by at any time using amenities such as the pool and the clubhouse. In a conversation between my mother, Patricia Teeling, the trustee, and I, the other beneficiary, a bit later, I asked about the trust. She gave me a look like a child that was caught with her hand in the cookie jar, and she told me that didn't exist. I informed her that it is indeed current. Property taxes are being paid for the trust account, and that, to my knowledge, a trust must be dissolved, and that would be informed in presence of beneficiaries and integral to such things. Will include such pertinent laws outlined in the Uniform Trust Code, as well as UIC law review as down in the public official role of the notary 31 J. Marshall L. Revised 651 1998 is applicable. I'm making this too lengthy. I will get lengthy. As what has transpired is evident and prima facie evidence of wrongdoing to be included with attached documents. Duty to inform an account. Maybe Gene can watch this. He's just fucking hiding. Trustees should keep the qualified beneficiaries of the trust reasonably informed of the trust and its administration, knowledge. This is all a trust code, default and mandatory other rules. Is there anything I missed there? Knowledge, most people should know what knowledge is, but a lot of people don't know this stuff. Except as otherwise provided in the terms of the trust, this code governs the duties and powers of a trustee, relations among trustees, and the rights and interests of the beneficiary, which are certainly not nothing. Terms of the trust prevail over any provision of this code, except as the requirements for creating a trust. We haven't seen it. The duty of the trustee to act in good faith in accordance with the terms of the purpose of the trust and the interests of the beneficiaries. The requirements that a trust have a purpose is lawful, not contrary to public policy, and possible to achieve. Governing law, the meaning and effects of the term of a trust are determined by the law of the jurisdiction designated in terms of the trust, provides there is a sufficient nexus to the designated jurisdiction at the time of the creation of the trust or during the trust administration, including but not limited to location of real property held by the trust and the residence or location of any office of the settlor, trustee, or any other beneficiary. Who's the settlor? Who's the grantor? Because the settlor and the grantor could be interchangeable. Effective fraud, duress, mistake, or undue influence. The creation, amendment, or restatement of trust procured by fraud, duress, or undue influence. The trust or any part so procured is void. I asked for a psych eval on this lady. It's undue influence. Is it fucking... What is it? Fraud. It's definitely fraud. The remainder of the trust procured by such means is valid if the remainder is not valid for other reasons. We gotta see it first. If the revocation of a trust or any part therefore is procured by fraud, duress, or undue influence, the revocation is void. So they're talking about revocable trust that no one can see until they're dead, and then you can iron it all out later and realize how bad you got screwed. And you just do it now. Duty to administer trust. Upon acceptance of a trusteeship, the trustee shall administer the trust in good faith in accordance with the terms and purposes of the interest of the beneficiaries in accordance with this code. This is uniform. This is out of Florida, but Florida adopted Uniform Trust Code. It's like 38 other states. As between a trustee and the beneficiaries, the trustee shall administer a trust solely in the interest of the beneficiaries. Let's see these documents. I know who's a beneficiary, and who's a trustee, who's a grantor. Impartiality. If a trust has two or more beneficiaries, the trustee shall act impartially and administer the trust property, giving due regard to the beneficiary's respective interest. Prudent administration. Trustees shall administer the trust as a prudent person would, by considering the purposes, terms, distributions, requirements, and other circumstances of the trust, and satisfying the standard, the trustee shall exercise reasonable care, skill, and caution. Here I am on the streets. For on what I found, my research pertaining to these family properties stamped November 10th, 2003, and dated the 20th of October, 2003. The certificate of trustee, in which the trust was apparently formed August 12, 1999. This certificate of trustee is written pursuant to New Hampshire RSA blah blah blah, acknowledged the 28th of October 2003 by the other beneficiary of the Teeling Family Trust, Jonathan Teeling, notary of the public, whose commission expires 3/6/2007. I will include this document as 2 attachments in the email. They're up there. They've been posted before. They're obtained directly from public records, filed with the Hillsborough County, New Hampshire Clerk's official records. This on its face would be a disqualifying interest. It also reeks of fraud and self-dealing, fraudulent conveyance, and unjust enrichment, along with associated and criminal activities following and possibly prior to the origination of this document that I will address in the coming case. Now this is all, I found this 88 pages. Everything governing this Marshall J. whatever L. revised, whatever. Well, not everything that looks like a conflict of interest is one. There are times when your connection to the signer, the transaction might inappropriately influence your conduct when completing the notarization. It's known as this disqualifying interest. Notarial acts in other jurisdictions of the United States, a signature and title of a person performing a notarial act are prima facie evidence that the signature is genuine, that the person holds this designated title. The signature and indicated title of an officer listed in subparagraphs A and B conclusively establish the authority of a holder of the title to perform a notarial act. The court will take judicial notice. I've tried, whatever. The court will take, not shall, will, but they don't. Their officers recognized by the commerce law of the world. Supreme Court right there. Notarial acts in New Hampshire. Notarial act is any act that a notary public has authority to perform, including but not limited to taking an acknowledgement, administering oath or affirmation, taking a verification upon oath or affirmation, witnessing or attesting a signature, certifying or attesting a copy, and noting a protest of a negotiable instrument. To wit, Jonathan Teeling did perform a notarial act acknowledging this trust instrument. Once again, this is public record. This is a fucking ongoing case. Ongoing investigation, ongoing case. It's all public record. Notarial officers verify signer identity as a fiduciary of the public. As a result, the notary is expected to perform with integrity and diligence. Oh, Jonathan Teeling. An acknowledgement may be made in individual capacity or in a representative capacity. If an acknowledgement in individual capacity, the person appearing before the notary is acknowledging the document and signature on his or her own behalf. If an acknowledgement is made in a representative capacity, the person appearing before the notary is appearing on behalf of some other person or entity. Person may be appearing in a representative capacity in one of the following ways: for and on behalf of the corporation, trust, or other entities, an authorized officer, agent, trustee, partner, the representative. Trying to do something here. Right by your noisy motorcycle. For on behalf of a corporation, partnership, trust, or other entity as an authorized officer, agent, partner, trustee, or other representative. As a public officer, personal representative, guardian, or other representative in the capacity recited in the instrument. As an attorney, in fact, or principal, for a principal, or in any other capacities authorized. Is Jonathan Teeling acting as an individual, or is he indeed? These are just my little notes. to go next to the code and conduct and laws. Is Jonathan Teeling acting as an individual, or is he indeed representing the Teeling family trust in this notarial act? He is certainly a party to said trust and or with financial interest. I have no knowledge of this acknowledgement, although I am a party to this trust and instrument. Patricia Teeling is a fiduciary of the trust. Jonathan Teeling is a public fiduciary and beneficiary of this trust. Gross conflict of interest. Notaries of the public may not take an acknowledgement of any party to any written instrument executed or by the corporation to which the notary is a stockholder, director, employee, or where the notary of the officer is a party to the instrument, either individual as a representative. Can't do it. He went to school for apparently for international business. He knows contract law. He's a notary of the public appointed by the governor of New Hampshire. You do this? This is a fucking flagrant crime. Either individual or as a representative of the corporation or participating in negotiable instruments owned or held for collection by the corporation where the notary or other officers individually a party to the instrument. Conflicts of interest. All notarial officers address this manual have both a statutory and common law duty to avoid conflicts of interest in the performance of their duties. A conflict of interest is real or seeming incompatible between one's private interest and one's public or fiduciary duties. You're a fiduciary of the public. You're supposed to act not in your own interest, but that of the public. It's all a sham if you treat it like such. For public officials like notarial officers who do not serve the state or on a full-time basis, the courts have recognized that the public's office may only be limited to part-time. This is pretty basic. As a result, to constitute a conflict of interest, the pecuniary interest must be immediate and definite. Pecuniary, it's I believe monetarily related. Or incapable of demonstration in general. A public official must never act in his or her own interest in performing official acts. Official acts must be done solely in the interest of the public. What an abuse. To the observer, such relationships create doubt as to the integrity of the act. The statutes and common law addressing conflicts of interest seek to eliminate any doubts in the integrity of notarial acts by forbidding notarial officers from performing notarial acts where such relationships exist. Once again, in the bold, it's my writing. This requires no explanation, as Jonathan Teeling knew that this was the case upon putting his name on the document. I've heard no cognitive or mental deficits on his part, and to my knowledge, he's currently employed at the Internal Revenue Service, where I'm sure moral conduct is required. Is this the case? Bribery. I think this was all grooming. I'm almost positive. It's my belief is grooming. Statutes also explicitly prohibit public servants, such as notarial officers, from soliciting. This is all verbatim, right from that what I cited before. From soliciting, accepting, or agreeing to a bribe. Bribe is any pecuniary benefit, promise offered or given to another person influencing the public servant's actions, decisions, opinion, recommendations, vote, nomination, or other exercise of discretion. And pecuniary benefits means any advantage in which the form money, property, commercial interest, or anything else the primary significance to which is economic gain. Public official who solicits, accepts, or agrees to accept a bribe or fails to report to law enforcement that he or she has been offered a bribe is guilty of a Class B felony punishable by up to 7 years in prison. And we wonder why Lori's fucking hanging around here everywhere. Improper influence. I believe this goes in with the grooming. But he's an adult. The governor gave him this appointment. Public servants, like who I never knew about being a notary at that age. Like, he was groomed into this. He was an adult. He got a friggin' college education. He got the governor to get him this thing. Public servants must also be free from improper influence. State law requires public servants to report to law enforcement any conduct by another designed to improperly influence a notarial officer. Such conduct includes threats of harm and private address to the public official. Statutory meaning of harm includes any disadvantage or injury to a person or property of pecuniary interest, including disadvantage or injury to any person or entity whose welfare the public service is interested in. Never mind your own fucking sibling. However, harm does not include the exercise of any conduct protected under the First Amendment of the United States. Whatever. Failure to report such conduct to law enforcement is also a Class B felony. We get 2 Class B felonies. There's a Class B and 2 Class Bs right there. And you got the freaking statutory law. Compensation for past action. Gifts to public servants. Compensation for services. Law also expressly forbids a public servant from accepting compensation even for past official action. Public servant is guilty of a misdemeanor if he or she solicits, accepts, or agrees to any pecuniary benefit in return for having given a decision, opinion, recommendation, nomination, vote, otherwise exercising discretion, or having violated his or her discretion, or having violated his or her duty. In other words, even if the pecuniary benefit is not given, sought, or even suggested until after the official act has already been completed, a notarial officer is still forbidden from accepting it. No, does not prevent a notary public, justice of the peace, or commissioner of deeds for accepting fees for notarial acts. So of course, but there was no money exchange there, other than the promise of the rewards you reap, up to and then after. Similarly, public servants are guilty of a misdemeanor if they solicit, accept, or agree to accept a gift from a person who is likely in the future to become a subject or is interested in any matter of action pending before contemplated by himself or herself, or if they give any advice or assistance in regarding the matter of transaction, or they have likely or have official discretion to exercise. This is total fraud. It's total fraud. You're involved and you can notarize your own shit and then cut somebody out of it. Purchase a public office. I think that he was put up to this. I never knew about any of this shit. I never knew what notary public was then. I didn't get a degree in international business. If that's even what he has, who knows? But I think she put up this purchase a public office. I bet she paid for this. Finally, no public servant may solicit, accept, or agree to accept money or any other pecuniary benefit as compensation for his or endorsement of any person for a public position of a public servant. This provision is particularly applicable to notarial officers who may be asked to endorse an applicant or to be a notary public or justice of the peace. A notary public should only endorse a person who's applying to be a notarial officer. But it's not unimportant, but notarial officer guilty of misdemeanor, he solicits, right, this is important here. Notarial officer is guilty of a misdemeanor if he or she solicits, accepts, or agrees to accept the pecuniary benefit in return for his or her endorsement. It's kind of vague, but it ties in all this. Statute and case law provide notarial officers with guidelines as to when a conflict of interest or other ethical violation might exist. However, if it's incumbent upon the notarial officer, before performing a notarial act to consider each requested act on a case-by-case basis to determine if a conflict of interest or other ethical violation might exist, whether explicitly prohibited by the state, statute, or barred by common law. Notarial officers must take special care to avoid conflicts of interest and other ethical violations during this performance of all notarial acts. And then this is my commentary. How has a trustee played a role in all this? She surely must have known better than to involve her son Jonathan in this fraud. I myself only found it decades later on my own, as all this had been fraudulently concealed from me, the other beneficiary. Here's the public. Like, I took the Florence Nightingale oath. It's similar to the Hippocratic one, but this is all shit you should know. Guiding principles. Notary shall, as a government officer and public servant, serve all the public in an honest, fair, and unbiased manner. The notary shall act as an impartial witness and not for profit or gain from any document or transaction requiring a notarial act. You're a beneficiary of this trust. We need to see these documents, no matter what they say. Like, even if I'm not on it, which I know I am. This gaslighting buffet. These are crimes here. I know he's on it. And even if he wasn't on it, he would still, if John wasn't on this thing, say he wasn't on it, he still stands to profit. His mother, Patty. Definitely, it's flagrant. So yeah, the notary shall act as an impartial witness, not for profit or gain from any document or transaction requiring a notarial act, apart from the fee allowed by the statute. The notary shall require the presence of each signer and oath taker in order to carefully screen for identity and willingness and observe that each appears to be aware of the significance of the transaction requiring a notarial act. The notary shall not execute a false or incomplete certificate, nor be involved in any document or transaction that is false, deceptive, or fraudulent. Criminal. The notary shall give precedence to the rules of law over the dictates or expectations of any person or entity. This once again requires no explanation. It's a public survey. The notarial officer is also prohibited by statute from using his or her public office to commit official oppression. This is important. For notarial officer, any unauthorized act which purports to be a notarial act done on the purpose of benefiting the notarial officer or another person to harm another constitute official oppression. I've been freaking harmed. I have a claim. I've definitely been harmed. Official oppression also includes knowingly refraining from performing a notarial act. Notarial duty imposed by law are clearly inherent with the nature of office. Any public servant who commits official oppression is guilty of a misdemeanor. Once again, my commentary. I have been officially harmed by the actions taken by Jonathan Teeling and Patricia Teeling. This is all public record. It has been submitted to the state in two states. In this regard, and I have not received any of my benefits. Other criminal activity as too will be released upon at the proper nexus and time. Notarial officer is similarly forbidden by statute from misusing information he or she acquires by virtue of his or her office from another public servant. Misuse of information include a misdemeanor offense includes acquiring or divesting himself or herself of a pecuniary interest in any property, transaction, or enterprise which may be affected by such action or information, or speculating, making a wager on the basis of actions or information, knowingly aiding another to any of the foregoing. Knowingly aiding Patricia. It's a conspiracy. And penalties for unlawful acts. New Hampshire law set forth specific penalties for the commission of unlawful acts by applicants or those who have already been appointed notarial officers. Notarial officer negligently or recklessly commits any of the first three unlawful acts listed above is subject to a civil penalty up to $1,000 per violation. This is only one piece of paper I found, one public record. These penalties are paid to the Secretary of State, whatever. Go get a 1099 for that. Notarial officer purposely or knowingly commits any of the acts is guilty of a Class A misdemeanor. So we got two Class A misdemeanors, Class B felonies, and one thing. How much more is there? A notarial officer makes a notarial act knowing he or she is not authorized to do so is also guilty of a Class A misdemeanor. There might be 5 here. I don't know. New Hampshire law authorizes the Attorney General to notify us a suspected violator of the state's intention to seek a civil penalty may negotiate a settlement with the suspected violators without court action. This requires a full-blown investigation. Secretary of State will deposit any civil penalty paid in the general fund. But basically, to cite in conclusion, to summarize, I've laid out the facts and governing laws in relation to this one incident. There are many others to which I have not been made privy to, although I'm owed a duty to inform. I also have personal knowledge and provide other crimes and prove other crimes, endless abuse related to this incident. I may be reached out, and there's my fucking phone number, who cares? My email. Your prompt attention to matters most greatly appreciated. So my well-being and public interest depends on it. But, that's it. I wish I could find the other email. It's on my computer. But yeah, I don't know if there was questions on that. It's pretty clear cut to me. But I took a lot of time because they were ready to blow it off. But, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this. And yeah, I'll find the documents I've posted a million times. I'll take pictures of them, put them in the beginning of this video. See you guys later. Love you. Bye.
My life subscribers, and then you're just going to wipe out the whole channel. So you lose all those people. Oh, he did touch me, you bull-crap liar. Hold on, let me block this dude. I know. You know what? I'm shutting the channel down.